Hello everyone. Here is my attempt at doing Hardanger in a video and kind of showing you some tricks or some of the way that I do it. First, I wrote out a disclaimer, so I'm just going to read that quickly. I'm a very amateur video maker with an older Sony camera and no editing software. I cannot pause, restart, edit out, or make any other changes to the video. My goal is to provide some help to anyone who wants to try Hardanger embroidery, but in doing so, what you see is what you get, mistakes and all. Please feel free to fast forward or backtrack. That's about it for editing, as you'll have to do it. I'm a self-taught Hardanger stitcher. These videos will show how I stitch Hardanger. The methods I use are not necessarily the right way to stitch and could very well be the wrong way, but they work for me and I wanted to share this. As well, I'm going to assume some basic knowledge of stitching on even weave like cross stitch, and I hope that's okay. Supplies, let me just bring this in here. There we go. Good embroidery scissors. I have two kinds, and I'll talk about the curved ones when I actually do the cutting for the Hardanger. And then I just use a basic pair for snipping threads, etc. Tapestry needles. Again, I'll talk about that in a moment. Even weave material. You can do Hardanger on just about any even weave except for Ada. Ada is woven with 4 threads and will not work for the cut work or the needle weaving that's done in Hardanger. Pearl cotton or some other thread, and I won't go into all the threads because other people have done some excellent videos on the different threads out there, so I'm just going to talk about what I'm using in mine. I do use sewing thread for the guide. I have tweezers. I also use a magnifier because I can't see very well, and I use a needle threader. A lot of these are optional. The type of material I'm going to use for the demonstration is Hardanger 22 count, and I have, and I'm hoping you'll be able to see this. So this is a picture of 22 count Hardanger. Yes, I think you can see it. And each weave is with 2 threads. You never split those 2 threads, so just to let you know. And then I've done a demonstration of threads here, but what I'm going to do is show you my very first trick that I do. When I work Hardanger, I always come up where there's a vertical thread over the horizontal thread. And after a while, what happens is your eye will see that vertical thread. And you can tell almost immediately if you're off by 1 thread. If I come up here, well, you will come up here, but not at the start of a cloister block. If I'm starting a cloister block and I come up here, I'll see immediately I'm not in the right spot. I'll be here. But I think as we go, you'll understand that more. Now, I'm going to get into, well, actually I should talk quickly about the needles. For 22 count Hardanger, I use a size, oh, I'm sorry, see, you're going to get mistakes and all. I'm going to talk about the thread first. For 22 count Hardanger, for my sample, I'm going to use DMC pearl cotton. The color I'm using is 642, and I'm using a white Hardanger, 22 count Hardanger, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to see the contrast well enough. When you use the pearl cotton, this is a number 5 pearl cotton, you use each thread. You don't split the threads. And I've put it, and I've shown on a previous video how I do this, but I've put it onto a ring. Here's the tag. And then all I need to do to start is pull off one of these because I've cut the loop. If you have a ball of thread, you would just take out what you need each time. Okay, so for the number 5 pearl cotton, I use a size 22 tapestry needle, and I will be using a number 8 pearl cotton for the needle weaving. The very first thing I do are the guidelines. And what I've done is I've started here. As most of you know, to find the center of a piece of material, you fold it in half, again, pinch it, and that will give you the center. Now what I do is I take my just sewing cotton, I thread it from the center one way and from the center one way, and that way I never lose the center, and then I finish it off and go the other way. Now when I do this, my guideline is, oh, see, you're going to get shadows now. Let's see if I can't do something with my lighting. And I'm already at 6 minutes. I only have 12 minutes to record, but we'll stop and start as we go. So what I've done is from the very center, I counted over 2 threads and went this way, and I counted down 2 threads. So when I'm at the center and I do this again, I'll count up 2 threads, and what's happening is I'm going over and under 4 threads. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, because your basic hardanger, now there's always exceptions to the rule, but your basic hardanger is always over 4 threads, or over 4 threads. So that's why I've done this. And as we go with the stitching of the cloister blocks and get further into the hardanger, you'll see how these guidelines help. Now, the piece that we're going to do is a very tiny piece. This is it right here. So it's an excellent little learning piece. So I'm just going to demonstrate that. What was I going to say now? Oh, if you're new to hardanger and you're doing a large piece, I really, really, really strongly suggest that not only do the crosswise guideline, but do diagonal guidelines as well. Because with hardanger, as you go around, you have to match up. If I start here and I go all the way around, this block has to exactly match up with that block in order for me to be able to cut. And don't be scared of cutting. It's not that scary. The first few times it will be, but it'll be okay. But in order to cut, it has to match up. You can't fudge that. If it doesn't match up, threads, you'll lose your threads. What these cloister blocks do is hold the material so you can do the cutting. And the guidelines, you have to have the guidelines. Well, you don't have to. You can do it without. But I find if I'm off by 1 thread and I've started here and I'm down to here, I only need to check it between these 2. And if it's not working here, I go back further and check it. I don't have to start here and count all the way around. And especially if you're dealing with a really large piece, that really helps, even with the diagonals. My very first piece I did the crosswise and the diagonals, and that made a big difference. Okay, so where are we now? 9 minutes. Okay, you know what? I'm going to stop this video. I will thread these over under 4, over under 4, with a cross in the middle, 2 on either side, and then we'll come back and we'll start with cloister blocks, and I think that'll do it. So I have to apologize again. What I have to do is upload this into my computer, recharge the battery. That's an older camera. Recharge the battery, and then start recording again. Oh, see, and it fell down. I'll show you what I'm recording on as well. I've got a stitching stand here. I don't have a tripod, so I'm recording on my stitching stand, and that's how I have the camera set up, with my fabulous lighting. It's an amateur hour. At any rate, I'll see you in a bit.